sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
How's everyone doing today? So, Mac Pro Day 2. This is FCPRadio TV Live reporting about, I got some recapping of what's going on yesterday. We got a comment here from our friend in South Africa, Justine Paula Robillard. Good morning. Very cold and wet-soaked South Africa. So it's not too bad here in the United States on the East Coast. It actually snowed a little bit last night. I was kind of surprised. We got a little dusting of snow, which I'm not sure if they were even calling for it, to be honest with you. Let's see here once. There we go. Check, check, check. Hello from London. How you doing in London? So in London it is 4 p.m., right? I think it's 4 p.m. Shamir says not too bad on the West Coast in Canada either. What is the temperature here? 33 degrees. I have a fire going out there. I heat my place mostly with firewood more than anything else. So what did you all think of the events yesterday? Let me turn that down just a little bit. What did you think of the events of the Mac Pro? 3 p.m. Oh, it says 3 p.m. So I guess it's, that's right, 3 p.m. It's 4 hours difference, something like that. Or 5, it's 5 hours difference. Right, 3 p.m. would be for the UK time right now. So I just want to check something real quick. I just wanted to check to make sure the audio was okay. Justine says 5:11 p.m. there in South Africa. So I ordered my Mac Pro this morning. I got up this morning and I'm thinking, Apple made it very easy to order the Mac Pro. One of the things, there's a couple of issues with the couple of things working in Apple's favor at apple.com. We'll go over my configuration in a minute. But there's two things that they did that convinced me to go ahead and order it. Number one is they're giving 6% cash back if you use the Apple Card until December the 31st. So my sales tax in Maryland is 5%. So basically I'm getting free sale, no sales tax, and I'm getting 1% back on top of that. But here's the other thing, the second reason why I decided to order from Apple is because they gave me a good trade-in on my 17-inch iMac, which I'm broadcasting from right now. So I had my 2016 MacBook Pro, and I sold that on eBay. And eBay is, it's a pain to deal with eBay these days. Number one is they charge 10%, which is a good bit of cash. They used to charge 3% or 2% or something, I can't remember. But now they're up to 10%. Number two is shipping and insurance. I don't like putting things up on shipping without putting insurance on it. Whether the buyer wants it or not, I usually don't feel comfortable. I think the MacBook Pro ended up costing like $50 or $60 to ship it. UPS had to rewrap it in from the packaging and stuff, and it was just a pain. And the third thing is sometimes the buyers are a little sketchy, even though you check them out. If they run a complaint against something they get back from you, PayPal will usually side with them. So that's another reason I don't like it. So Shamir says if one buys a top-end $50,000 plus version of the Mac Pro, you could get a MacBook Pro for free was 6% cash back. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. So I ended up ordering it this morning. So it's coming in a couple weeks, apparently. So Justine says, I hope the Mac Pro is the first in a new generation of post-purchase upgrade series of hardware, including laptops. Would be great to be able to upgrade later. So that's one of the main reasons I got the Mac Pro, why I decided to get the Mac Pro. You can upgrade it. So what I was doing yesterday was deciding on what I'm going to do with the graphics card. The 8 gigabyte basic graphics card was not good enough. But I wasn't sure if I wanted to jump $2,400 up to the next level. They have a 16 gigabyte version coming out, and I could always change that. So Christopher says, Ashworth says, what motivated the new purchase of the Mac Pro? Well, I've been talking about buying the Mac Pro for pretty much since they announced it back in June. In August, I started a separate Mac Pro fund. I started diverting money to this Mac Pro fund so it wouldn't affect my normal budget. It was funded in about a month or 6 weeks, and I've had the money sitting there waiting for this Mac Pro. So here's the motivation. There's a couple motivating factors. Number one is my 2017 iMac, which I'm broadcasting from right now. I'm going to sell that in 2020 because it's the cycle that I normally sell. That's number one. Number two is I would either get a iMac Pro or the Mac Pro because the iMac does not have, it only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and I need at least 3 or 4. So we'll get to Simon's comment in a minute. He says, FCPX has been updated okay, but where is 10.5? We'll get to that in a minute. Let's go through the Mac Pro stuff first. So I have the funds for it. I had $10,000 set aside for the Mac Pro purchase or a new Mac purchase. When I went to price the iMac Pro that I would get, it was $8,100. So I'm in the range of the Mac Pro at that point, $8,000 to $10,000. I decided to go with the Mac Pro. I love the form factor of the cheese grater. I always have. I have a G5 cheese grater. I have an Intel cheese grater downstairs. I love the form factor, always have. So that was a big factor. They came back with a 2019 version of the cheese grater, right? Well, they did. That's exactly what they did. They came back with a 2019 version. It's even better. You can get to all 3 sides. Both sides, and then of course the back. So that would be so you can upgrade. So I got the graphics cards. I got this SSDs. There's an interesting thing about the SSDs. Apparently, Apple has to install them. I was kind of shocked, but Apple has to install the SSDs in that machine. Not the storage, okay, but SSDs, it has to go back to Apple to install. Didn't know that. I didn't know that. The wheels, if you get the wheels aftermarket, Apple has to install, they can install them for $400, but Apple has to do it. You can't do it yourself. Warranty or just technical issues. But the SSD was a different issue. I thought maybe I could upgrade the SSD. The SSD meaning, I think, the boot drives, the SSDs for booting, not storage. Third-party storage, you can do the promise rate and a couple of other ones. That's not the same as the SSDs for the boot drives. Apple has to install the boot drives. I was kind of surprised about that, but that's what it is. So let's go over my configuration real quick. Let's just do that. So here's what I ended up buying. Yesterday I did a trade-in, and I got a good amount of. So here's the other thing, 6% cash back when you buy from Apple Card until December 31st. That's a lot of cash back. My sales tax is 5%, so I took care of my sales tax plus an extra 1%. A refund up to $25.30. I did a refund on a trade-in on my iMac Pro, 2017 iMac Pro, and I got good value for it. So let's just go ahead and see what I configured. So I got the new Mac Pro. Wait a minute, let's go. This isn't the right one. Mac Pro. Mac Pro buy. Here we go. Configure. So I got the base core. I didn't get that. I didn't get the 12. I got the 16 core. Okay, 16 core. It's an extra $2,000. I don't need 24 or 28 core. Then the memory, I got this extra 48 gigabytes because it was only $300 more, and I get that way. That way, I figured I didn't have to worry about getting third-party RAM right off the bat. You have 12 RAM slots, right? So I figured I'll just get the 48. That'll hold me over for a while. So let's see what else. So I got that. Now here's where the graphics came in. So I was not going to get the 8 gigabyte version of the graphics. I was going to wait for the Radeon Pro with 16 gigabytes and see what that did. I was going to wait for that. But what I decided to do, I just decided to go ahead with the Pro Vega 2 with 32 gigabytes of HDM2 memory. I decided to go that way. Storage, once again, you cannot add your own storage. Apple has to add, not storage, the SSD area of the Mac Pro. Apple has to add that. I didn't know that yesterday. I thought maybe I could get the 1 terabyte and then add later. This SSD storage, it's not all storage, but the SSD storage, Apple has to add that. That's what I've come to find out. So I decided to get the 2 terabyte. That's in between. I don't need 4 terabyte. I have external stuff. I have external RAIDs. I have 4 terabytes of external Thunderbolt 3 connected SSD. I have an extra 4 terabytes. Plus I have my RAIDs that are connected via Thunderbolt as well. So I didn't get that, and I did not get the Afterburner because I edit with the GH5. So I shoot with the GH5, and my GH5 shoots H.264. This is my setup for my GH5. I like having a handle this, and then I have the audio interface, which gives 2 XLR inputs. It's the Panasonic one, and this is my little cube up here. I have 3 hot shoes for lights or a microphone, whatever I want. But I love the GH5. I'm not going to not shoot with the GH5. So I'm not shooting with ProRes right now. We'll have to see what the GH6 does, but I don't need the Afterburner because at this point, it's only for ProRes, right? And the other thing is, I can add it later. This is what the idea of the Mac Pro is. If I want it, if I shoot a year from now and I'm shooting ProRes or ProRes RAW, I can add the Afterburner card later. Just plop it in one of the PCIe slots. So I did not get wheels, $400. I will be curious, to be honest with you, I'll be curious if there's not a third-party solution for those wheels. In other words, if you look at the base of the Mac Pro, somebody's going to probably come out with a little device that goes on the base, clamps on somehow, or you screw it on, and it has wheels. Now, it'll be a little bit taller than the stock one, but, it'll be a little taller, but either that or what I'm going to do for the time being, because I have to get around back and put cables in and stuff, I'm going to make a little wooden cart with some high quality wheels on it. And I'm just going to set it on top of that, and then that way I can spin it around for the time being. Let's get to some of these questions. So, do you think we'll get an iMac Pro update soon? Maybe early 2020. Absolutely. The iMac Pro is way overdue for an update. I think they'll be coming with an update. Probably just a more modern CPU or better graphics or something. So absolutely, I think the iMac will also get an update. The iMac itself, it needs four Thunderbolt 3 ports. The Mac Mini has 4. The MacBook Pro has 4. The iMac Pro has 4. With my Mac Pro, I have 8. 8 Thunderbolt 3 ports, because it comes with 4, and then there's 4 additional Thunderbolt 3 ports on the back of the Mac Pro with the graphics card that I have. Now I have 8 Thunderbolt 3 ports. That is fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. So Christopher says, makes sense. It's all good for everyone. Fred Rhodes III. And Christopher R. Ashworth says, Apple SSDs. I saw an article yesterday. I was surprised, but it said that Apple has to install the SSDs, not storage, because they have that third-party RAID device. You can put storage in there. But the SSDs, I don't know. So I wonder if the SSD situation has to do with the T2 chip. It most certainly could. It most certainly could have to do with the chip. But I don't know for a fact. I don't know for a fact what's going on there. So then Justine says, then the Mac Pro is not post-purchase upgradable. That is quite a shock. Not the best idea personally. Now let me make this clear. It is upgradable. You can upgrade graphics cards. You can upgrade storage inside there. You can upgrade any of the PCIe cards that's compatible with the Mac Pro. All those are upgradable. It's the SSDs that I read that Apple has to install. It might have to do with the T2 chip. I'm not sure. But I was surprised myself, because I was figuring maybe I'd get a 1 terabyte SSD and then upgrade it later. But when I saw that, I said, no, I'll get the 2 terabyte. So Christopher Ashworth says, nice, 6% is a nice incentive. It is a nice incentive. It was for me. He says, is 1 terabyte of RAM possible? I think it's 1.5 terabytes, but you pay a premium for that. Dom says, is it PCIe SSD modifier? So I don't know. I think there's a special place. Let's go and look. I think there's a special place where the Mac Pro, where their SSDs go. I don't think it's a PCIe slot. Let me just check. Let's look at this for a second here. I don't think. So the SSDs, let's see. The PCIe slots are here. I think the SSDs are over here. This is where the RAM goes. Let me just see if we can get that. Let me just turn this off so it doesn't interfere with our look. 2 sides, 1 goal. So let's see. So this is the side with the PCIe slots. But I think, Let's look at the other side real quick. This is the RAM. I'm not sure. Maybe it goes in there. I'm not sure. But I've read the article that said that. So this is what I'm thinking. Somebody can attach something to this base and put a wheel on it, third party, that's not quite as expensive as $400. Let's go, well, the design. Let's go see if we can find where the rack mount. Anyway, I read that. Technical specifications. I read that, so it would not surprise me if that's true. Now, what the reason is, once again, I don't know, but from what I understand, Apple has to install the SSDs. You can't do it yourself. Not storage. Once again, graphics cards you can install. You can install like a RAID thing in there, anything that goes into PCIe slots, but I don't think I'm not sure what that means. It's full of stars. 2000. Oh, 2001. There you go. Can you please tell us if Apple will release a brand new Final Cut Pro? Well, I can tell you this. Final Cut Pro 10.5 is coming. Okay? My guess is going to be here in 2020. If not before NAB 2020, it'll be out at NAB 2020. That's my guess. Now, here's the thing. We're up to 10.4.8. The only other upgrade between full number updates for Final Cut Pro that has been anywhere close to that was the original release. 10.0 had nine updates. We're up to 8 with 10.4. So expect a big, massive update with 10.5. 2020. Michael Schmidt says, question is, going to add my own off-the-shelf Radeon 5200 XT in there. It's going to have to be Mac Pro qualified. I don't know for a fact, but I didn't want to mess with that going forward. So I figured I'd just bite the bullet, pay the $2,400, got the 32 gigabyte, which is way more video RAM than I've ever had. So it's dramatically more. And that way I don't have to worry about it for a year or so. You know, a year from now, I may get another graphics card. I got 6 RAM modules at this point, 48 gigabytes. And I have 6 more slots. So I can add if I need more RAM. When I'm on my iMac, I'm not even using the 32 gigabytes that I have presently. So I'm not that worried about it for my workflow. Now, I get more plugins in Logic. I use a lot of processing in RAM and Logic. That's one of the things. You can also daisy chain Thunderbolt. That's exactly correct. But I'm not, with 8 Thunderbolt 3 ports, I'm not going to need to upgrade. I'm not going to need that daisy chain. However, I'm going to have to get a longer Thunderbolt 3 cable to go with my Apollo interface, because my Apollo interface is right here on the top of the desk, and the Mac Pro is going to be below the desk. Right now I'm plugged into the iMac, which is right there with it. So I have a little short Thunderbolt 3 cable, maybe meter and a half, maybe a meter, not even that long. So I'll need to get a 6-foot one, but if you get Thunderbolt cables, make sure it's got the Thunderbolt, the Lightning logo on it. Otherwise, it's not a Thunderbolt 3 cable. USB-C does not equal Thunderbolt. Get the Thunderbolt 3 cables if you're using a Thunderbolt 3 device. So I'm not sure, in your opinion, Avid and DaVinci are better than Final Cut Pro? No, not in my opinion, they're not. Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. Christopher says, T2, yes. I mean, if I thought they were better, if I thought Avid or DaVinci were better, I'd be using them. I'm not using them. I haven't been for quite a while. I've used Avid before. I've used a little bit. Michael Schmidt Schmidt says since the 5700 XT is basically the 5700X, just less RAM. See, the thing is, I think those graphics cards are going to have to be compatible with the Mac Pro. Whether that's in firmware, I don't know. If they're going to decide in firmware, I think there could be, I don't know if there could be. Third-party graphics cards at some point. I don't know. You know, I'm putting out a lot of money for the Mac Pro. I don't want to be bothered with it for a year. I want it to be able to need what I need for the next year or so. Then I'll worry about afterburner cards. Then I'll worry about adding a second graphics cards. The price will probably come down. I have storage, enough storage right now. I have 24 terabyte of RAID 5 on my RAIDs, and I have I have 4 terabyte SSDs that are Thunderbolt 3, not USB-C, but Thunderbolt 3. So I have 2 of those. I've got plenty of storage, and I keep buying 8 terabyte drives to empty my RAIDs out for the time being. At some point, I'll get a nice 8-bay Thunderbolt 3 RAID and go up to 64 terabytes, whatever. But right now, I don't need it for what I'm doing. Art Aldrich says, I could have bought from Apple website if they offered Apple Card with 30K limit. There you go. You're getting a 30K Mac Pro? Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Tell me what you're getting, Art. That's a lot. So Christopher says, found this on the MacBook Pro's SSD, continues to be off the charts fast on Blackmagic Speed Disk. The system turned in a write speed of 2,500 megabits a second. The Dell, just whatever. So yeah, and these are even faster, I believe. I think the ones in the new Mac Pro are even faster than the ones that are available. Justine says, a bit of solder and ball bearing, just job for the wheels. I'm sure there's going to be something. I mean, if nothing else, look, the weight of that thing, if you got some wheels with a base on it and put some heavy duty, I have it around here somewhere, some heavy duty double stick tape on it, you could probably just set the wheels right down and it would stay for just rolling around in the studio. So that's a good question. What monitor will you use? To my right, which obviously you can't see, I have, let me just check this. I have a 34-inch 21:9 LG monitor that's Thunderbolt connected, and I've been using that with my Mac Pro. So I'm going to, when I sell the Mac Pro back to Apple, which will be gone, then I'll move the 34-inch directly in here. I like the wider aspect ratio. So that'll be nice for the time being. Now, I may upgrade to another monitor at some point, something a little better than what this one is. But for the time being, I got one right out of the box. I've had this for a year or so. So Christopher says up to 3.4 gigabytes a second sequential read and 3.4 gigabytes sequential write performance. Storage encrypted by the Apple T2 security chip, so that's why they need to install to bless the drive. Something. There's going to be some things that you're not going to be able to get off the shelf and put in there, even though it's just PCIe slots. Some of the stuff, either via firmware or whatever, it's going to have to be blessed by Apple because Apple wants to make sure the thing runs. So, yes, Christopher, the long cables get expensive. I went on OWC, MacSales.com, and they have a 6-footer, which is all I'm going to need, for like $60, Thunderbolt 3. It's the 100-watt, 40 gigabytes a second one. That's the one I'll be getting. So, $60 isn't too bad. You're talking about the optical ones, which are hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm not getting one of those. Tim Musto says, does your Mac Pro config have the afterburner? No, it does not. I don't shoot with ProRes, so I didn't get the afterburner. I also don't transcode to ProRes, with the exception of if I shoot in 4K with my GH5, H.264, H.265. If I do a multicam with like 2 or more, if I do more than 2 tracks, then I transcode to ProRes proxy to do that, because it'll stutter. At least it is with this 2017-inch iMac. So 2 times displays. I'm going to probably listen. I'm going to use my 34-inch LG monitor for the time being. It's a really nice monitor. It's really wide. If I need a second monitor, I might get a vertical monitor and put it to the left-hand side and keep like the browser in a window open there, whatever I can divide up. I might do that for the time being, but I probably will be getting a new monitor at some point, but right now I don't need it. I got the better graphics card. I got the larger SSD. I got the 16-core. That really, for me, for my workflow, that future-proofs me for a couple of years without any issue. Whether it's Final Cut Pro or Logic, those are the 2 main things that I work with right now. Final Cut Pro and Logic. I do some web design stuff too, but for the time being. Do you think the LG's C9 OLED will work with HD? I don't know. I don't know that monitor. So Art says, I went with 16-core, 48 gigabytes RAM, 1 terabyte SSD, and afterburner card. So he got the same thing I did, except I upgraded to the 2 terabyte SSD and the afterburner card. I didn't get the afterburner card because if I was shooting with the Blackmagic 6K or 4K, I would have gotten it, but I'm not, so I don't get that. Here's my config. 3.2 gigahertz, 16-core Intel processor, 48 gigabytes, 6 times 8 gigabytes of memory. Now, it has 12 slots for memory, so I have 6 empty slots. I can upgrade that. Radeon Pro Vega 2 with 32 gigabytes of memory, 2 terabyte SSD storage, stainless steel frame, blah, blah, blah. I like the Magic Mouse, so I didn't get the trackpad. I already have a trackpad, though. I have a Magic Trackpad 2 that I have right here, but it's white, but I still have that. If I use that as well as the mouse, I keep them both available. But I like the mouse. I'm one of the people that likes the mouse. There we go with that. Let's see. So got a message here. And let me see if I got any other messages real quick while I'm there. Not yet. Not yet. So anyway, there's been some reviews. Let's see what this says. Christopher says, I shoot Z6 with Atomos Ninja in 10-bit ProRes HQ, but I'm waiting for the ProRes RAW update. Would the Mac Pro with Afterburner card be a necessity for those living? As a necessity? No, it's not a necessity because you already got plenty of power. It's just it's a dramatic increase in performance if you shoot ProRes RAW, because people are shooting ProRes RAW now with just regular, without the Mac Pro. So, but here's the thing, Christopher. You can always add it later. You don't have to buy it initially. It's something you can add, you can put in yourself. I'm pretty sure the Afterburner card does not eat Apple, but even if it does, you can go to the Apple store and they'll install it. So you don't have to buy it initially. That's the whole thing with this. I mean, I didn't I don't need a more RAM than that for the time being. 48 is plenty. I can buy RAM modules later. Price goes down typically, but I wanted, when I was looking at the 16 gigabyte graphics card, and I'm saying, well, I'll save some money, but you know what? I don't want to be bothered with messing with this for like a year or so. So other than maybe I'll add an audio PCIe bus, a card or something, I'm not sure. So you don't need it. You can add it later. If you find out that it's not fast enough for you, add it later. You can buy the afterburner card later. Now, if the afterburner card, from what people are saying, the afterburner card is programmable. If they program it to do H.264 acceleration or H.265 acceleration, then I would be interested in it later. Right now, I don't need it. I'm going to be putting my seatbelt on using this Mac Pro when it comes in. I should be getting it in a couple of weeks, like right around Christmas, between Christmas, New Year's, sometime around that first of the year. So that'll be great. That'll be fantastic. I'm really excited about it. Christopher says a future-proof system. That's the idea. The Mac Pro, I could keep it forever. I could keep it for 3 years, 4 years, longer than my typical upgrade cycle for updating Macs. So let's go over a few more things. So one of the other things about the Mac was, could we get 6% back? Okay, because I bought it before the 31st, used my Apple card. Apple gave me a good trade-in value for my 2017 iMac. I went on eBay and looked at the current selling prices of the 2017 iMac, similar to mine, and Apple offered a competitive price. So I said, okay, that's a bonus. So 6% back, free shipping, gave me a good trade-in value for my current iMac, and they pay for the shipping of the iMac back to them. I don't even have to pay that. They're going to send a package for it. I have the original, so I'm not worried about that, but they're sending a package with free shipping back to them. So that's a pretty good incentive at this point. So here's the other thing. Let's see what's going on there. So what do you guys think about the Mac Pro? My wife is going to hate me after this video. She should love you, Christopher. She should love you. You're going to be able to do so much with that, make more money. I mean, I have a recording studio that I've run in through the 80s and through the 90s. In the 80s, it was reel-to-reel. I still have my reel-to-reel decks. I've actually brought them back out, and I'm going to get them fired back up again for any band that wants to do reel-to-reel recording. But I'm going to be back in the studio downstairs, and I'll be recording some of my own stuff. I have my own band stuff that I have. I record rock stuff, roots rock stuff, and I might open a studio back up to third parties, to other people, local people that will want to record. I can make that money. I can make the money back in a year, typically, if I'm ambitious enough. Other than that, I'll just be doing video production. She says, yes, work faster for more lattes. Absolutely. I like lattes. I have my own cappuccino machine that I make my own here. But when I go to Vegas, to NAB, or I go to Cupertino, California, I get their lattes. I wish I could afford it. Would love to see Mac Mini with proper GPUs. I have a feeling that Apple has more in store for us coming forward. Since they've did the new Mac Pro, which is beefier than the prior Mac Pros, and of course not Mac Pros, MacBook Pros, the 16-inch, it's beefier. It has a bigger battery apparently, and they did this Mac Pro. They might come up with the Mac Mini that's a little bit more robust than the current line. We'll have to see. I'm excited about having 8 Thunderbolt 3 ports. So we also had Final Cut Pro 10.4.7 that came out yesterday. Let's just check on that information. And apparently 10.4.8 does work with Mojave. It does not require Catalina, but I have a feeling that, well, I'm pretty sure that the Mac Pro only ships with Catalina, right? Nobody's got theirs yet, but I agree the software upgrades for FCPX are coming fast and furious, so I would agree. Now, here's the thing about Fast and Furious. They had a update 2 months ago, 10.4.7, which was the compatibility one with the Mac Pro, and then they just released 10.4.8 yesterday, which is absolutely just a bug fix. It's a bug fix. Prevents an issue, fixes an issue, resolves an issue, improves stability. When sharing, I've seen some sharing issues. Improves stability when skimming media in the browser. Improves reliability when working with Sony XAVC media. Improves reliability when importing and exporting CEA 608 captions. So that's interesting. Now, I am not in the market for a new camera at this point. I like my GH5 a lot. I got some nice set of lenses for it. And I got, of course, my iMac Pro Max 11, which has 4 4K cameras on it. So once a few of the apps update for that, between those two, and I have a GH4, which actually I'm streaming on. The GH4 is the camera that I'm streaming on. So I have a GH4, GH5, and I have my iPhone. That's all I need for right now. The incentive, the main thing I want, there's a couple of main things I want with the new camera. If the GH6 comes out, the Panasonic GH6, I'll most likely stick to that just because I have all the lenses. I have all the lenses for it. However, one thing I need out of the GH6, I need much better low light performance. That's the biggest thing that's lacking in both the GH5 and the GH5S. They're not as good as the Sony A7S III, which is like the king of low light performance. So I'm going to have to get a camera. One of the main things is going to have to be really, really good low light performance. I'm not in any hurry to upgrade to a GH6, but that's one of the things that I would require. All I need is B-RAW in Final Cut Pro X. I hope it's coming with 10.5. I would be very surprised if it's not coming in 10.5. I'd be very surprised. It's going to have to come. It's too many people are shooting B-RAW and they can't edit in Final Cut Pro if they want to. So Christopher says the new Final Cut Pro update came in between jobs and it renders even faster on my iMac Pro. He says, Scott says that's due to sensor size, low light performance. I presume that's what you mean. Yes, I realize that. I think I can create Dolby Vision content when I'm in a way better position with my clients to stand out. Exactly. So one of the things that I do sometimes, depending on how busy I am or not busy I am, is I rent my studio out. Not this studio up here, but I have a downstairs studio where the recording studio is. I rent it out to video people who want to come and edit themselves, or if a band wants to do their own production, that's fine. That's easier on me. I go down there and assist them and let them rent it out. I rent their studio out sometimes. I can rent the studio out more if I have a Mac Pro. People will be more apt to buy that. They'll pay for that. Right, slow light. I realize that low light is, sensor size is part of that equation. I absolutely realize it. But if you look at this thing takes incredible photographs in low light. Incredible photographs. It's not just the sensor size, because this sensor size is tiny, but it still takes incredible low light photographs. It uses IA and some other magic. So it's not just the sensor size, but I realize the sensor size. So put it this way. If the GH6 came out and it was not a really, really good low light performer, then I would probably switch to something else. Maybe the new Blackmagic. If they have a better, I'm not sure how they do in low light. It's probably comparable to the GH5S, I presume. So we'll have to see what the version comes out. No, there's been no announcement from Panasonic about the GH6, but we'll see. So if you guys, they've had a bunch of unboxing videos. I am going to be updating FCPX.TV. Right now, I just got a few up there. YouTube Pro Unboxing. This is a popular one that's out right now. Let's get rid of that. It's got to play. So this is one. It's got 2 million views already. They did the unboxing videos. This guy's got a lot of followers. 2 million views since yesterday. Incredible. So he did the unboxing video. And then there's another one. Unboxing video, another one. Beautiful machine. I can't wait to get mine. It's got 200, almost 300,000 views. Jonathan Morrison, I got to meet him over at NAB last year. Now, here's an interesting thing. Apple support. Look at these.
To follow the directions supplied by Apple is not covered under Apple's warranty. Before we start, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. First, shut down your Mac Pro and wait at least 10 minutes for it to cool down. Make sure.
So we have those, right? And there's another one, how to add memory to your Mac Pro, another one.
Installing memory in your Mac Pro is simple. Let's walk through the steps together. Be sure to follow these directions carefully to avoid damaging your computer.
So there's, Apple has a whole series of how to do things with the Mac Pro. So Scott says, do you use native lenses or Metabones? Most of my lenses are native, but I have the Sigma 18-35 with a Metabone speed booster. That's my low light king. I get down to 1.2 f-stop with that combination. That's what I use anytime I'm filming indoors. I don't need it outdoors, obviously. Outdoors, I have a 10 times zoom. I have a lot of Panasonic lenses. I have one. As a matter of fact, I'm shooting with the Sigma right here. That's why my background is blurry. It's natively blurry. It's not because I'm doing any software tricks. But I'm using that for that lens right there. Says Christopher Ashworth says, 11 Pro Max can do insane video and you always have it on you. That's exactly right. So I live in the far north, and if a wolf were to walk into my property, I'd love to Pro Max video off that phone. So, but anyway, if I don't see, the Sigma is a great combination. It's really, really cool. If I don't see a really, really good low light performance in the GH6, I probably won't get it. I'll switch to something else or wait. Whenever it comes out. So anyway, let's go back to this FCPX.TV. I am going to be updating the Mac Pro 2019 master list. I'll update it when I get off here with articles and videos right now. I just started doing this. But see, if you look at this list, back from WWDC, look at all these articles that people wrote, YouTube reviews, and a lot of them are still, they're still relevant because they were reviewing, got hands-on back in those days. So FCPX.TV, I'll update this Mac Pro December 2019 master list. When I get off today, I'll keep adding things here. Just keep checking back. It's right on the main page. One other thing about the main page, FCPX.TV, send your request or feedback to the FCPX team here. there's a direct link to go to the Apple page. So it's right there. You don't have to remember where is it. It's right there on the main page, fcpx.tv. Let's get this up there. There we go. Talk about the XDR display. Who's getting the XDR display? I could end up getting one at some point. It's a beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous display. I don't do color. I do not do color. I'm not a colorist. So I do basic color. I use a couple of plugins sometimes. But I'm not a colorist, and I don't spend a lot of time other than just shot matching and things. I don't spend hours and hours on it. I spend my time with audio. Too many people ignore audio for other aspects of video. I spend most of my time with audio devices, microphones. I have 35 to 40 microphones because of my recording studio. What I'm talking to you right now is a Neumann TLM 103. It's a very nice studio condenser microphone. I love microphones. I got a new microphone for my iPhone. It's the one from Shure. It has multiple capsules and it goes in a lightning port. I really like that one. It's much better than anything else that I've tried, except for this one mini shotgun that I use sometimes. So is anybody getting the XDR display? That thing is gorgeous. At some point, I might get it. For right now, I'm going to have to get over this, the funding of the Mac Pro that I got, like 11.5K for that. So that's also a factor, of course, is cost for everybody. Everybody's been on talking about the cost. Well, it's a lot more than just the cost, but like I said, I was already funded. Let me just check on here and see what's going on. So one of the comments yesterday on Twitter was, LOL, it's even less than I anticipated. That was the update to Final Cut Pro 10.4.8. Well, it's a bug fix update. That's all it was. We've had 2 updates in the last 2 months, so that's not bad. Everybody knows the Mac Pro cost, if you put everything in it, it cost over $52,000, $53,000. So, and of course, all the goofy people are saying, oh, it looks like a cheese grater. Wow. You're very original. If you say that, you're very original. It's been said for years. As a matter of fact, yes, it's been said for years. I have an article. Let me see if I can pull that up. Here we go. Let me pull this up. So if you have to be more inventive than saying looks like a cheese grater, that's a ridiculous thing to say. You're not use your imagination. Something better than that. Top 10 predictable Mac Pro complaints. Costs too much. Looks like a cheese grater. Doesn't have FireWire. I can build a PC version for half the price. No NVIDIA Gouda cheese option. Too powerful. No bagel warmer like the trash can. The trash can had the bagel warmer right up here. Too many expansions, no DVD drive, doesn't respond to Hey Alexa, etc., etc. So if your complaint isn't there, as you've cut with something original. It's 1600 nit peak brightness, yes. Absolutely. It's built to edit HDR video. That's correct. For if it's that mission critical for you, that is correct. But like I said, I don't do anything that's mission critical color-wise. I just do regular videos and my streaming and stuff. I really don't need that. Yeah, I was jealous when you guys got your Mac Pros last year and the year before. I didn't get one. I would never get an iMac again. It only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. If they get up to 4, that'll be fine. But I have 8 Thunderbolt 3 ports coming my way, so that's going to be fantastic. All right, I just wanted to come on here and just do an update. FCPX 10.4.8 came out yesterday. We talked about it 2 days ago on one of our live streams. We had a live stream on Monday. We had a live stream on Monday. We had a live stream yesterday. It was 2.5 hours, and live stream today. I'm not likely to do any more this week, but who knows? Let's see if there's anything else. I think that's just about it. I'm excited. I got my Mac Pro. Christopher says, thanks for the info. You're very welcome. Hit the like button if you don't mind on the YouTube page. Cheers, cheers. Absolutely. Hit the like button, subscribe. I will be continuing the different Final Cut Pro Live events, TV Live. And don't forget, what else do we have here? FCPRadio.com. That's where the podcasts are. You can go there. I think this video is live on that front page. Yeah, it should be right now, too. You can find the podcast in Apple iTunes or Google, whatever, Google Play, whatever you guys go to. We'll be having more guests on coming forward. Thank you. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button down below if you don't mind. It's always nice, well, before you leave. And I think I'm going to head out of here for right now. If there's no more questions. Listen, I appreciate everybody stopping by and watching these videos. The one we did yesterday has like 2,000 views since yesterday morning. This one's going to probably be a couple, maybe 1,000, 1,200. Thank you, Scott. Scott says he already did hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate, when you have a lot of people come around to see these, it just encourages me to do more. So that's the way it's going to be. Now, when I get notice of my Mac Pro shipping, it's not shipping yet. That'll be exciting, and I'll come back on here occasionally to do live streams. Who knows? But anyway, you can go to Apple, give them some feedback, tell them you want 10.5, what you want in 10.5. It's probably better if you do more than just say, I want this and I want that. Tell them why you want it. That's one of the things. When we hear from the Final Cut Pro team at the Creative Summit, when they come to see us, they don't want just the, they don't want just the, I want this feature. They want to know why you want it, why you think it'll be beneficial. The more information, the better. Do a little screen recording. That works, right? It does indeed. It does indeed. So anyway, as you know, youtube.com, Richard Taylor TV, subscribe over there. On Facebook, you can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups, Final Cut Pro Radio. That's where we do a lot of discussion about these live things. It's getting more active. Of course, on Twitter, twitter.com, Richard Taylor TV. I have a Facebook page. My personal page is also Richard Taylor TV, but it's not about Final Cut Pro. My Facebook page is not about Final Cut Pro. It's more about local events and activities. I do a lot of animal rescue videos for animal groups. It's a little bit about Final Cut Pro once in a while, but that's not where you want to follow me. Go to the Final Cut Pro groups, Final Cut Pro Radio. That's the best place to keep in touch if you like Facebook. All right, everybody. So I think I'm going to get out of here for the time being. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Go to the Facebook group. Go to the Twitter page. Go to the Periscope video yesterday has like 600 views from yesterday. It's got a lot of views, more than usual. So people like Periscope as well. But anyway, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Until the next time Final Cut Pro Radio TV goes live, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by.